Miss Cross here today, ready to do some math with you all. And we are beginning our first new content lesson of math for fourth grade. And I'm really excited to do this with you. So we're going to start today with our learning target. This is our focus of learning. This is what we want to be able to do when we finish the next couple of days' lessons. And luckily for you, a lot of this is going to be a review. So our learning target for today is I can read and write multi-digit, that means more than one digit, whole numbers in expanded form, standard form, and word form. And I know that you have heard those different forms before in third grade and possibly even second grade, so this is going to be a review. The only difference is that the numbers we use might be a little bigger than the ones that you have worked with. So today, we are going to also learn about an activating strategy, and I mentioned this in the intro video that you just watched a minute ago, so this is what it really looks like, what I was just talking about. So today, we're going to learn what is a number talk, and a number talk is just a type of activating strategy that your teachers might use sometimes. And all a number talk is a conversation about numbers where you answer problems using different operations. So you might use addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. You will be encouraged to do this in ways that make sense to you and to explain how you figured out your answer. So you might solve a problem one way and explain it your way, and your classmate might solve it a totally different way and have a different explanation. And that is okay. That is the whole point of a number talk, friends, is to see the different ways you use and different strategies you use to solve math problems. Okay, so during a number talk, your teacher will present a problem. Now, this might look different on different days, okay? There could be different kinds of problems that you'll see. Your teacher will give you some time to silently figure out your answer. So you're just going to figure this out, usually in your head. You're not going to be using pencil and paper to figure this out, okay? We cannot talk during this time. We will only use hand signals. And if you remember, I gave you a few weird clues in that intro video. This is what those were about. You will share your answers. Your teacher will record a few of your answers on the board. Now, this might look different in digital learning. Your teacher might pause a video and record them on a paper or their whiteboard. That might depend based on your teacher. But you will want to record some of your answers. And then if you're called on to share your answer, your teacher's going to say, how did you figure that out, okay? You're going to share with your friends your thinking, how you got the answer that you solved. And your teacher will ask several of you to share your answers and your thinking so you can see several different strategies. Okay, finally, you will try to agree on the correct answer. You might have all gotten the correct answer. Nobody might have gotten the correct answer. You might have several different answers. So as a class, you will figure out which answer you think is right. Now, it's very important that this is done kindly with no judgment or criticism of incorrect answers, because we all get answers wrong sometimes, and it's important that we can do that without being judged or to be made to be feel badly, so that we can fix our mistake, figure out what we did wrong, and fix it. Okay, now these are the hand signals I was talking about. So when your teacher projects the number talk problem, everybody is going to make a fist and put it right over your chest, like I showed you in the intro video. And this is a silent signal to your teacher that you are thinking about the problem, okay? When you realize that you have an answer and a strategy on how you got that answer, you're going to stick one thumb up. So your hand is still up against your chest, and now, in addition to your fist being made, your thumb is sticking straight up. Now, the more you think, some of you might come up with more than one strategy. That is when you're going to stick your pointer finger out. So your hand is still going to be up against your chest, but your pointer finger out and thumb out means that you have more than one strategy on how to solve a problem. Now, this one is where you can take your hand away from your chest. You're going to stick out your pinky and your thumb, and you're going to kind of twist your hand back and forth, kind of like a a surfer dude might do. That is a symbol for I agree. So if your classmate is explaining an answer in a strategy and you figured it out the same way, you're going to do that symbol. You're going to shake your hand with your thumb and your pinky, and that's a really good symbol or signal, for your teacher to know that you agree with something. And you can use this in all different aspects of your class. Now, we're just gonna talk about this today. We're not gonna actually do a number talk. I want you to think about the silent signals and think about the steps. And tomorrow we're gonna try our very first number talk. Okay, so now we're gonna do a quick vocabulary review. You'll remember a minute ago in the learning target I mentioned reading and writing numbers with lots of digits, multi-digits in standard form, expanded form, and word form. And I just wanted to put some examples up here to help you remember this from back in 3rd grade when you talked about this. So standard form is just numerals. It's just the number. So we can read this number in standard form as 7,234. Okay? Expanded form is where we split the number into the place values. So we separate the thousands, the hundreds, the tens, and the ones. So if we put this number into expanded form, we have 7,000 plus 200 plus 30 plus 4. Or you could say 7 thousands plus 2 hundreds plus 3 tens plus 4 ones. Finally, word form is where we just write out the whole number using words instead of numbers. So that is read the same as the standard form, 7,234. Okay. One more thing to review is base 10. Now you guys have been learning about base 10 since way back in 1st grade, maybe even kindergarten. But these are 4 different groupings of a number that we can represent in drawing and with manipulatives. So I'm actually going to start on the right, which is not usually where we start, but I want to start with the smallest place value, and that's a 1. So one tiny little cube, and most of you have probably held those or played with those in math class before. One little cube represents 1. Now, the next is called a rod. It is 10 cubes all stuck together, and that is a 10 rod. Okay? The next one is 100 cubes or 10 rods all stuck together. So it's a flat square with 100 units, and we actually call it a flat. So the flat has 100 units. Now, this big one on the left, the reason I didn't start with it is because some of us might not have seen this one before. This is 1,000. It is 1,000 units or 100 rods or 10 flats all put together. And we are going to draw these. I'm going to teach you how to draw this because we don't really have these manipulatives at home. So while you're working at home, you're going to learn how to draw this symbol so that you can represent numbers with base 10 in addition to those other forms that we talked about a minute ago. Okay, so mini lesson. What is a mini lesson, friends? A mini lesson is a time where your teacher will be introducing something new to you, something you haven't learned before. This is her or his teaching time for you. This is your teacher's turn to talk, and the spotlight is shining on your teacher. This is not your time to talk, friends. This is just for your teacher. It is your turn to listen and to think and really absorb the stuff your teacher is teaching you. All right, we are going to try our first mini lesson. So remember, the spotlight is on Miss Cross. It is my turn to talk. You're going to listen and think. And after I model this whole process, you'll have a turn to try it out yourself. Okay, so here is our question. How can I show the number 1,342 using base 10 blocks? Okay, friends, I'm going to switch over to my ladybug really quickly. So I'm going to write the number in standard form because that's what it gave me at the top of my page, okay? Now I'm going to write here base 10, and I'm going to put a little colon, 2 dots, because that's going to tell me what's coming next. So the question said, how can I represent this number, 1,342, with base 10? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think of this kind of like an expanded form, and I'm going to draw each place value separately, okay? So I'm going to start with my 1,000, and I have a 1 in my thousands place. We're going to talk more about place value in a few days and learn about some bigger place values than you probably have talked about in school. So this 1,000 is that big cube that you just saw. Now I'm going to show you how to draw this. This can be a little tricky. If you can't draw it perfectly, please don't worry. You can practice it and you'll get better. So because I have 1,000, I'm going to draw one cube. Okay, so this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to start with a square. Okay, now it's really hard to draw an absolutely perfect square, but you're just going to do the best you can. Okay, now on these 3 corners, I'm going to draw a diagonal line going out. Okay, so I'm going to do like this, and like this, and like that. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now you're going to connect these 2 lines and these 2 lines. So you're going to go like this and like that. Okay? That is a cube. Now you do not have to draw all the lines to represent the rods and the flats. We're just going to know that a big cube like that represents 1,000. And I might even just write it down here to help me remember as I start practicing. Okay? So now I have a 3 in my hundreds place. So I'm going to draw 3 flats, and the way I draw those are just 3 squares, not as big as this. 1, 2, 3. So this is 100, another 100, and another 100. So I have 3 hundreds. Okay? Now I'm going to look at my tens. I have 4 tens, so I'm going to draw rods. Now I just draw lines. Your teacher might do a little skinny rectangle. However they do it, you'll get used to their way of drawing it, but I do it just like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to label those. Each of those is a 10, and I have 4 of them. And then I have these 2 little ones. Now I usually just kind of draw a dot. You could draw a little square, but it's a small unit, so I'll do little squares today. Okay, so that's 1 and that's 1. So if I were to add all of these up, I have 1,000, 1, 2, 3 hundreds, 1, 2, 3, 4 tens, and 2 ones. So this base 10 drawing is the same as this number in standard form. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my mini lesson for a minute because I believe there's more to it. Oh look, it already, oops, hold on, I'm showing you the wrong thing. Sorry, I snuck you a behind the scenes peek there. Okay, so the next one says, how can I show this same number in word form? So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to go ahead and do expanded form, okay, friends, as well. So word form. Word form, I'm going to write out the words. 1,000, 3, oops, I almost wrote a number. I had to remind myself that I was writing words. 342. Okay? That is word form. Now, expanded